Jesus Christ. And hello once again.
We started?
And welcome to Nerf Jack. Yes, we have. I am here with the looks and the brains to have a quick recap on what happened at Summer Smash. We were all there this weekend. And John is currently trying to balance
Drop a paintbrush.
something in his mouth and on his lap at the same time. And that sounds as weird as it should. So,
multi-talented.
how are you two today, anyway, kids?
Good.
Good. John, is that terrain for Corey's army when he comes up to King Beyond the Wall?
You know, it could double as that, actually. It's probably going to be for Infinity, but yeah, that could work for Corey's army quite nicely.
That
if you have two of those buildings, we can offer it to him as impassable terrain on his board for the first round.
Oh, I got one for that. Don't worry. So we can do this one for that plan.
Now, for the people playing at home who cannot say, Jesus Christ, he's just shown us a three-tier Japanese building, which looks fucking amazing.
About 18 inches aside, give or take. So that should work well. Ideally, he plays Ben first round, because then we can make the other impassable this one, which is body width.
It just looks like a garage. What the hell?
It is. It's a garage. So you can park your bike in there and then, pick it up on your way home.
Sure, as long as it's a Triumph. Right.
So, yeah.
So anybody who's not watching this on YouTube, you should go and take a look. Because also, John's trying to put his junk inside all those holes.
Not trying, already did. Okay.
Corey had a lot of fun playing with that terrain.
Won't everyone?
Yes, we will. Now, so as I had stated, we were just there at Summer Smash, where we challenged people to show up with giants, and apparently none of us did except for John, according to John.
That's correct.
And you had three. Apparently, I had 3.5. I'm not entirely sure on how this all works, but
the giant has no attacks. It doesn't really count as a giant.
I'm with Ray on that one. So you get 3.5. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Great.
3 and a special one.
And a special one, yes, because I'm special.
We can start downgrading to 3 1/3 if we continue this.
In any case,
John,
I took. Go on.
How about you regale us as to how your giant heavy spam fun list did?
Oh, we're just going right to that? All right. So I did bring 4 giants. I brought 3 frost giants and Hrim, and then got a bonus giant because that was part of the tournament special rules. So I had 5 giants. My whole list had 10 things, 11 things. So about half my list was giants. They are very, very medium. They did a lot of medium things, but they're good at getting in the way. The rest of my list was mainly naiads and a heal buffer and the flying ice blade with the wings upgrade. So, yeah, game 1 was hilarious. Eamon's plan was to multi-charge as much as he could, so I just didn't let him do that. He charged a bunch of stuff in, didn't kill anything on the charge, and then I got to slowly grind him to death and slowly and very painfully just grind out his soul in that game. The MVPs were the Pack Hunters, who on a miracle charge wavered his Fallen on the one flank, which were going to score all the points and probably win the game. And then they wavered them again, and then they killed them.
Well, we should also say,
in melee.
We should also say that we were playing push in round 1.
We were playing modified push.
Modified push, yes.
So there were 3 tokens across the center that you had to grab, as well as 2 per player on each side that you could carry from the very beginning. So it was a challenging scenario, but not really for me, because I got a bunch of stuff that's fine to just walk up and get punched, and then just slowly beat you to death afterwards.
I really like that variant of push. I think it's a
yeah.
I thought it was good.
I would almost.
I hate normal push.
I would push for that one to be in the rules pad, pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I thought it was a fun change. I would also, if you're doing that, just drop loot altogether because it combines them both
Listen,
into a better scenario.
I actually, like you were saying, I really do like that, especially with we played it where you could only score one token on any unit, correct? Yeah,
One
which
token
still
per
works out
unit,
really
yeah.
well, and it does it forces you to, well, one, take enough scoring units, and two, kind of think about what you want where and what's going to pick what up. So it's kind of like a game within a game there.
Well, and I don't hate the change that was made a long time ago to make it. I don't know if they've changed it again because I don't read rules, but the change to make it one token per scoring unit, I think, was great because that way it prevents me from just putting them all on a horde of naiads behind
Yeah.
two other hordes of naiads with just giants to stand on the flanks and just walk
Yeah,
across
play
the middle of
football,
the board
basically.
and win. Like that's a dumb way to play the game. So I'm happy that was changed, and I thought this scenario was a good variation.
One unit per each unit can score one token. I don't like the variant where they say you can score up to your unit strength.
No.
That makes
I'm not.
That mixes your.
It makes it weird because is it scoring? I don't think that was ever answered properly. Because was it scoring the number of points up to your unit strength, or scoring the number of tokens up to your unit strength? Because my naiads can score 4 tokens
on their own, but if they crossed, then they couldn't. Like it was just too.
It's too weird.
Clean. Each unit can score 1, and if it's 2 points on the one side, 1 point, like that's fine. Like just play it like that. It's simple. It's clean. There's no arguments.
Yep. So that was game 1. So I did get very lucky in that game, which you'll find getting very lucky is a theme through the whole tournament. But very lucky in some waivers and some spiky dice rolls that I was able to claim a solid victory in that game and move on to round 2. How'd your game 1s go?
No,
or do you want me to just go through all
of this?
Let's do game by game.
So Ray, why don't you go next there, mate?
So for my game 1, I got to play Alex Coos. And Alex, as we talked about, brought a proper tournament army to the game. And
didn't you, Ray?
Yeah,
yours looked kind of proper tournament.
With all my speed, well, it looked
tournament adjacent.
Good, but I can assure you the lack of hammers was felt, and the lack of speed was felt because I lost table sides and I lost first turn. So I got put on the side where I had the impassable right in the middle across from the objective in the center. And then not going first meant that I couldn't, move forward to put pressure on Alex off the start. So I was behind the 8 ball. But really drove it home was the fact that I had no idea what I was doing with that army. So I ended up losing. I got 3 tokens across, and he got 4 tokens across. But it was one of those games that by turn 3, I realized the game wasn't going my way, and I had lost the game. So by turn 3, I knew I had lost it because I didn't have the speed to correct for anything, and I didn't have the power or the hammers to challenge his butchers sitting on the center token. That being said, the attrition score was about negligible, so it was a 14-7 game. So I lost it, but I lost it as close as I could given the situation I put myself in. I had all my shooting on the right. I had all my combat on the left. And that didn't work with my army because my army has a lot of shooting. But in all the other games, I put my shooting in the center. One of the other things I did wrong was when I'm playing with my Berserker heavy army, I can put like 1 regiment far left, 1 regiment far right. And it's supported by a horde, so I have enough power to overcome a flank. So playing against Alex, I put 1 regiment far left, 1 regiment far right. They end up not doing anything because they don't have anything to synergize with. So in all my other games, I put all the Berserkers I had together, the 2 regiments and the Apostate, because the 3 of them combined can do stuff, but 1 regiment is just...
No. Regiments aren't enough attacks to handle anything reliably. Not even if you do get a good flank charge. There's still only 18 attacks.
No, it'd be 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get a flank, 30 in the flank. So if I could get
Yeah, that's not
but
nothing.
they
Yeah.
could be seen off by a regiment of soul flares. So the one regiment the entire game
Yeah.
just played chicken with the soul flares, pushing them back 2 inches a turn. Because that's all
Just getting wind
we were
blasted.
playing each
Yeah.
other. Like I'd come within 17 inches and he would back up because he doesn't want to get charged. So that's all they did the entire game. So I guess that's not nothing when you cancel them out, but it didn't do anything. So lesson learned was if you're taking the formation and that's all you have for Abyssal Berserkers, they have to act as a unit. But I got my
sense.
tokens across. I got the 2 I started with, and I picked up 1. The problem was I couldn't get the center one, and I couldn't get the far left. And those void touch mutants touched me in all the wrong spots.
They avoided your touch and touched you in the voidy place.
Absolutely. To the extent when he attacked me, he didn't have enough dice because he only brought 18 dice. And holy cow, he got 19 hits and 19 or 20 hits with the other one. So to be you,
sounds
Alex,
about right. Yep.
Hitting on threes with elite.
It's hitting on threes with elite is a wonderful way to play the game.
It is a drug, and that needle goes in deep. That is for sure.
So Ben, how'd you do? I lost 7-14. John won, and you?
Me, I played Andrew, which is Eamon's brother, and he was playing Free Dwarves. And on turn 3, I thought I was absolutely cooked. He had just had some great things go his way, and I was like, this is not looking well for me. However, the tide had turned. So when you bring something that doesn't waver, not rolling to kill the units kind of keeps the unit around. And the star of this game was the Soul Snare. That thing is a absolute killer. So it's like 7 attacks every turn, 18 inches away, and heals within 12. So I was getting 5 wounds back at a minimum every single turn. So this thing was just keeping stuff alive, left, right, and center. He didn't really have a lot of crush in his army, which ended up being the downfall. Like he could hit, he just couldn't kind of seal the deal.
Couldn't seal the deal.
He put a couple of things too many in against the giants that I had, and they just wouldn't die for him. Like he would get to, out of my dash 18, he'd hit like a 16 or 17, and they just end up coming right back again and doing some serious damage. So, I ended up pulling it back. I 20-1 him in the end.
What? How was it close to be 20-1 him?
On turn 3, he had 5 or 6 of the tokens, and it all switched at the end because the only things that he could go after, or the only things that he killed, were my hordes, which were worth next to nothing. So everything else just kind of did the damage from there on in.
You were at 20 points after round 1?
Okay.
Who did you play round 2? How many points did he have?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. It was a 21 or it may have been an 18-3. I might be thinking of my second game and getting my ass kicked. I think it was an 18-3. I'm thinking of my second game.
Because otherwise, you and I
because I missed you by apparently like 0.6 of a point or something stupid like that.
So
it was probably an 18
because I had a 19.
So John, what happened in your second game?
Well, before we did that,
my second game,
we were playing Dominate.
Yes, playing Dominate in round 2. Which, important to note, in round 1, I had 5 giants and my opponent had 1 giant. Okay, important to note. I had much more giants, and I feel that was a critical path to victory. Round 2, I had to play Mark, which he, as we talked about, had a giant killer list. He had a bunch of stuff that'll just demolish a giant in one go. He had some shooting, which if it goes off, will demolish a giant if I let it happen. And I don't remember who won table side, but I wasn't unhappy with the table. I think I won table side, and I picked the one with had the big obstruction off to the right hand side, so I could just like anchor a flank and just kind of stand there and let him do stuff to my naiads and just largely ignore it. So lined up, started it off, just kind of pushed some unit strength up, and Mark played the best game he's ever played against me, and for the majority of the game was in the winning driver's seat.
I thought he was.
Big time.
I thought he was winning
like,
by the time you guys had finished up too.
He played super smart by not engaging and just holding his unit strength back on the edge of the dominate zone to push in, where if I advanced, I'd get flanked by abyssal half-breeds and a bunch of other stuff that I didn't want to deal with. I, as usual, because I don't read rules, forgot that some of his things had surge. So he kind of did a weird move where he backed his big obsidian golem up, and I was like, oh, that's a weird move, and kind of ignored that and repositioned one of my units badly. Way too far angled forward, so that he was able the next turn to just walk over and surge into the flank. So he killed a horde of naiads with one obsidian golem in the flank, the big character golem, and just demolished them in one go. I was like, well, that hurts badly. However, the following turn he overcommitted and plunged both of his big hordes of golems deep into my line, into another charge that I didn't see, and got to flank one of my other giants. Unfortunately, he rolled Snake Eyes, and that left it open for my giant to just charge into the flank of one unit of golems and another giant to charge the flank of the other one that charged in, and I got to swing the game all the way back around to what ended up being a close win for me. It came down to the very end, down to the last dice roll of can he clear or something, and he couldn't, and I was able to just pile extra unit strength in at the end when we had turn 7. Turn 6, I think it was a draw, and turn 7, I scraped a win out. So he had 2 giants, I had 5 giants. Again, critical information. What really broke it, though, was he snake-eyed a giant, and that kind of the whole game pulled apart.
We've been playing really well in the last couple of tournaments. I mean, his Abyssal Dwarf.
He played really well, and without that snake eyes, I am pretty sure he would have won.
I'll go next because you were playing table 1 and I was playing table 2, and poor Ray was way down at the bottom. I played Mr. LeHay. We played. He's my regular opponent, and I thought for sure I had him. This is all going my way. Oh man! However, you know what doesn't go your way when you're hitting on 4s and 4s and you do 21 bloody wounds to a unit. I was trying to. He did that.
You did that, or he
naiads went off. It was.
Oh,
yeah, naiads
are crazy. They also have 30 attacks.
The vicious helps. All of that stuff does actually help, but still, it was on the high side. He was able to. I set him up so that he would crash into my hordes and hopefully stick and stay. And he was like, "Nope, I'm gonna walk through them like they're paper," except for 1 round on 1 horde, which he killed the very next turn. Anyway,
To be fair, you are just running piles of bones, so it should be
big bones, small bones, little bones. It was kind of fun. I will be playing more of the Empire Dust. That is for damn sure. I needed a turn 7 to kind of eat my way in and get more into the side and all the rest of it for him. But unfortunately, no, I was not able to do this stuff. I think it was it wasn't a big win for him. I think it was maybe a 17-4 or a 16-5, something like that. But yeah, it was. We don't normally play Dominate in the Murder Garage because, damn it, the only person that dominates there is me. No, I'm kidding. we
all know that's not true.
Only when I'm wearing the studded leather thong. That's when I get to dominate. That's about it. That's right. But
that took
I needed a turn 7. I didn't get it. It was just too bad. So over to you there, Ray.
I got to play Joel with his Sylvankin, which we also discussed as being a good list.
I like that list.
It was a good list, but with the suggestions we have made to it since then, it has upgraded from being a good list to being I would say a much better list and scarier list. So I'm glad I got to play like the C plus B minus version of it, and not the B plus A minus version that it's at right now.
So you would call it a gooder list?
A better list. I would say the upgraded version is definitely something that I would consider taking to a 2-day.
The upgraded version is something very similar to what I have taken to
So
multiple 2-days.
the issue was Joel had a metric ton of shooting with the 4 regiments of Sylvankin, the archer, and he had some fast elements as well. So the first turn he goes, oh, there's an abyssal fiend. I'm just going to shoot it off. And off it goes.
As you do.
And then the second turn, he's like, oh, you have 2 units in cover. I'm just going to shoot them off, despite them being rallied. But
yeah, that sounds right.
But by the third turn, I was in combat with some of his Sylvankin shooters. So I was actually, he shot off 1 more unit. But I was able to take advantage of the fact that they're not the best combat elements. And
they're not. They're melee 4. They have no crush. They don't want to fight. They want to shoot. And their defense 3.
And even his tall spears hitting on 4s, like they're elite with 30 attacks, but they have no crushing. And he has no bane plant. So
they're very
even when they hit my regiment and they were hindered, like you're hitting on 5s with elite. I'm defense 4, so he only did about 5-6 wounds, and my regiment of berserkers didn't die.
Yeah.
So I managed to win because I weathered the storm and I kept advancing despite getting shot at. I felt like I was the Spartans at Thermopylae, fighting in the shade. Once I got in, I did what I was supposed to do and killed those archers. So what we recommended to Joel after the fact was that he takes out those 2 hordes of spearmen and puts in 2 night Stormwind cavalry regiments. Because I think if he had those, when I crushed into his lines, he would have hit both my flanks and folded me up like a wet paper towel. Actually, wet paper towels are really...
And you can take them with all the good upgrades in Sylvankin. You can have them with Pathfinder and Nimble. So they are
and you can take up to 3 of them now in a Sylvankin list because it's awesome. You can't get Dracons, but you can have 3 units of fast cavalry.
They're very similar to Dracons once you kit them up like that.
They can get the rally as well off of the Dryad horde if you are so inclined. So it gets,
but then you got to take the Dryad.
16, 18.
Yeah, but I like the list with the additions. So it was, I think, the first time I played Joel. It was a good game, but it was a very much he had like everything going his way for the first 3 turns, and then it switched for the next 3 turns. So Joel, if you listen,
and that's the big.
If you listen to this, thank you very much for the game. Thanks for arranging the tournament, and I look forward to playing you again in the future. But also, I will be much more worried about coming against your army in the future. So with that, we went into round 3, where John got to be on the top table.
And we were playing something weird. We were playing Protect and Raise. Raise is normally my favorite thing there.
I like Protect and Raise.
Protect and Raise. Yeah, I was going to say I liked it better because the list I brought sucks ass at Raise. Like, it is brutal for Raise. I have to go through someone's list where other people like Alex, who has had the pleasure for round 3, have flyers that can just fly around and score points, right? Which is what I'm used to. So having to actually play the game the hard way was hard. Great game. As usual, whenever Alex and I are both playing in a tournament, we are drawn together like magnets in the list at some point, and this time it was round 3. I haven't got to play Alex in a while, so it was a nice game. Hadn't got to play him, so enjoyed that. and it was very challenging. He was playing his Night Stalker's list, which is very
Twilight
good.
Kin.
It's got a lot of punch. It's got a lot of mobility. Twilight Kin, sorry, yeah.
Mainly Night Stalker.
Mainly Night Stalker units as Twilight Kin with mutants, which are scary as shit. So, was tight positioning. I screwed up immediately and let him get his flyers too far up one flank and spent the rest of the game trying to mitigate that with a giant by just getting him in the way, blocking line of sight, trying to hold him off on tokens. He was able to fly around behind me and score a bunch of tokens. I was able to punch through and grab some. And it came down to largely a double one. Again, this game. My Ice Blade, my Pack Hunter, and my Special Giant were holding one flank trying to grab a token, which he was defending with mutants and phantoms and soul flayers. And he made a small mistake where he didn't check his phantom placement, and it was like just a hair in for a charge from a giant. So my giant got to charge them and clear them. My Ice Blade flew into his mutants to disorder them so I could move into position to charge them the next turn. And on the charge back the following turn, he did minimum wounds and then Snake Eyes the Ice Blade. So the Ice Blade got to just stand there and be like, well, now everything goes my way this turn. So I still didn't get to punch through that flank. He held me up with Soul Flayers, but it was all right. The middle went my way. I was able to grab the center token and the other two that I had on that side, but he was able to sneak around behind me, grab two with phantoms, and then I thought, you know what? It's fine. He can't get the other one. I got a unit strength 4 horde sitting right beside it. Should be fine. And he flew around behind, and I looked at him like, okay, well, you can get those two, obviously. I don't think you can get this one. I've got those ones, so looks like I'll have a narrow win. He goes, can't I get the one? And I looked, and it's the friggin' Soul Flayers. So he just wind blasted my horde back. They were at 3 inches, like 2.5 inches. So he just wind blasted them the 1 inch. I'm like, well, yep, that's a pro move right there. So grabbed that token right at the end of the game, and it turned into a draw, and I got a winning draw. So I finished that game 11-9, and we'll circle back to the winning draw. Also important to note, he had only the Special Giant, and I had 5 giants.
So in total, you faced 5 giants with your 5.
We're going to say yes because it works out.
1, 2, 3. No, only 4.
No, it's definitely
only 4. So even on the whole day, I had more giants than all the giants I faced.
Well, I'll go next there. I played Eamon, who, like you said, was playing as Varangur this time around. I decided that, you know what we really need is a trapeze act. So I went, here you go, Eamon. Let me throw you as far forward as I possibly can. And got my ass kicked. Holy crap, did I get beat up on this one. This was the 20-1. I was actually kind of surprised he got everything except for like 2 of my units, and that was it. And one of them was the monolith, and the other one was no, wait a minute, no, he got the monolith. I can't remember what the 2 things were, but Jesus Christ. I had a what's it called? The flying bone dam thing. What the hell is that thing called?
Bone dragon.
No,
Bone
the
dragon.
other. If it was a bone giant, it would have counted. It was the flying.
Worm?
The worm. Thank you.
The worm.
I had a worm on one side, double one, just like a troop of dogs, whatever he was taking there, and I had another one on the left-hand side, double one, a unit that had hit pretty damn hard, and everything went south after that, and he just folded me in, took me out, and I was like, oh God, not like this, and it was like that. I got 1 point. I was able to score 1 the entire game. I burned one thing, and then I went and I just got absolutely obliterated by all of his charging cavalry and everything else. And it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. I had a good laugh. I needed one at that point in time, and tried to get him way up there into the point standings, as every good opponent should. He's just raise the guy that's playing you up. That's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to do all the best to make the other guy just that much better, right? Apparently for me, that's exactly what I was supposed to do. Okay.
Oh.
But yeah, I got absolutely thumped that game, and deserved it. So
Fair enough.
So
Ray,
my
how was your
game
game
three
three?
was against my dad, Mike LaHaye, because Father's Day
Yeah.
weekend.
Good old father-son match on Father's Day
That
weekend.
seems
Yeah.
appropriate. And I found out what happens when you put 50 shots into a naiad horde.
what happened?
Might take 2 turns, but they disappear.
Oh, do they? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he must have rolled bad on his regen.
That's why it took 2 turns.
That's why it took 2 turns, because he regenerated half of them, but I still put 12 wounds on the first turn, wavered them, and then killed them the second turn. Because
There you go.
you hit on 4s, that's a lot of wounds. So once you remove one naiad horde, there's a hole in the line, which you can exploit with Abyssal Fiends. So, like I said,
So your Giants got to go to work. How did your Giants do?
Did him okay. His Giant charged my Abyssal Fiend to the front, wavered me, but I'm a Forces of Abyss, so I have Fury. I countercharge. I have another Fiend charge the Giant in the flank, but I'm only crushing 2, so I Bane Chant it. So I'd be crushing 3 with Vicious with 14 attacks. So I'm 21 attacks, 14 of those are on 3s with Vicious on 2s. I think I did about 7 or 8 wounds. I did not kill the Giant. Fortunately, my Abyssal Fiend had regeneration. It was in range to get a regeneration 4 up, so it survived the counter punch from his Giant.
Nice.
And I killed it the second turn. But the real MVP of the story was I put my shooting and all that against his naiads, thinking my shooting should be able to deal with his speed 5 movement and kill it, and they were successful. I'm going to put all my berserkers on the left flank to counter his fast cavalry flying units, because he had the 2 flyers and he had his chimera. And what happened was he moved up. He used his dogs, Tundra Wolves, to take the token on the far left. I countercharged with a regiment and my apostate into the flank of the Tundra Wolves, killed them, and then pivoted to face his line. And he charged his chimera into my regiment, and he charged his horde into my berserker apostate, and he whiffed on both. So he like the chimera not killing the regiment was possible because he's hitting with 9-10 attacks, hitting on 3s, 10 3s and 2s. So it should do elite and vicious, or elite or vicious, one or the other. It should do
both.
No, because it didn't have vicious because it wasn't close to the cavern driller.
Oh, okay.
So
he doesn't have vicious naturally. He's got Tundrified.
Oh, Tundrified.
So it was just elite.
Fair
so you should do about 8 wounds, which means you need a 7 twice. So that one was a possibility of me surviving, but the horde, when it hit my hero, should not have survived, because the horde of Frostclaw riders should have done 10 wounds. I think they did about 9 wounds, and he rolled a 5.
That's still 9 wounds.
Yes. The problem is I had the 2nd regiment come in to the flank of his chimera, and I had my special giant come into the flank of his Frostclaw riders. So the flank that I'm planning to play chicken on all of a sudden collapsed. And he lost both the chimera and the Frostclaw riders, and I was then able to come back in and kill his center. So I did a Horns of the Buffalo to anyone who's watched Zulu. I took out both flanks.
So there's a reference I've not heard in a long time.
So I ended up getting a 20-1. I actually managed to table him, which was Mike, thank you very much for the practice game in the Murder Garage where you tabled me. So you tabled my board in the practice game. and I got to table you at the tournament because you wanted to give me a Father's Day gift, and I appreciate the Father's Day gift, Mike.
Yeah,
Shouldn't you have been giving him the Father's Day gift
Oh,
since you're the son in that arrangement? You're a bad son.
So that's the way my tournament ended, was progressively getting better and better as I learned how my army works. It's funny how that works when you
Hang on.
take an army list for the first time.
Hang on. You took Abyssals, right?
Yes.
Okay, now what are you taking to Masters?
Forces of Abyss.
And what
But
did
there
you
were
take?
only 3 things.
What did you take every tournament?
But
So-
there were only 3 things in that army.
No,
Which I'm using.
He's still taking the same army. I'll try this crap. It's a good try. It is a good try. But, well, obviously, I ended up the worst of all of us. I ended up 9th out of 12 guys. I don't know how I ended up 9th, but I did. That's kind of why I brought my good friend and one of my longest friends, Mr. Cooper, along with me, so I can always make sure that there's something. No, that's not fair. No, I love you, James.
Did James get who got the
Andrew?
wooden spoon this time? Yes, I think it was Andrew. Which, on a related note, the wooden spoon
It was
a meat
great.
tenderizing mallet.
Which
this
was
time. It was the best wooden spoon we've had.
That was wood. Okay.
That was wood. Yeah.
No, Andrew was. I know he hasn't played that many games. When he played me, like I said, he had me dead to rights. It just didn't fall his way. He's going to get better. I suggest.
He'll get much better.
I suggested he put more shooting in his list because he seemed to enjoy that side of the army more than he wasn't really sure what to do with charging Brocks and that sort of thing, but he was sure what he wanted to do with his shooting units. So I've suggested for him to go a little bit more into that sort of thing.
Imperial dwarves might be a better fit.
Maybe. I guess we'll find out, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming out with more and more things. I've talked to Mike a few times. I really think he should drop his frost claws and put in the what are they called, the ice elementals again. I always think that he plays those a lot better, and I think the surge is a bigger threat, and they give off the frozen aura too. So it might all be something that stop. I hate it when you smile like that. It means you.
The frozen aura is a
really
special thing.
It really is. I like a regiment on them, just like with the dash 14, and for their points and the 9 attacks, and the fact that they can just kind of move forward or be flank support or whatever. I really like that.
If there was like an ice elemental hero, that would be a fantastic piece.
It's something that they're missing, but
it'd be great. Like a ice elemental, a greater ice elemental, 75 or even a 50, like just a baby one.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
A baby.
I'd get a lot of work out of that.
You
Call it
probably
the
would.
Glacier.
Ooh, there we go. The Glacier, and have a big one, a 75 mil one. That'd be fun.
There you go.
Make it like the greater earth elemental. Give it 12 attacks. Give it a little shooting spray. I like the sound of that. That sounds like a nice new unit to roll out.
That's something that may or may not happen. We will never know.
That'll definitely never happen. I never get anything I want in armies. So,
all right. Well, Ray, where did you end up?
I ended in 2nd place. I submarined with the loss to Alex, and then the win against Joel, and the win against Mike. And I was 2nd place by 1 point, apparently.
Yes, over.
that is accurate. The winning draw landed me 1 point ahead of you, and my 5 giants took home the victory at Summer Smash, where the trophy is a Mantic Giant that has been painted gold on a 75 mil base, so I can use it in future tournaments.
With a surfboard.
With a surfboard, because it's obviously Summer Smash, so he's ready to party.
I think he's wearing like surfer trunks.
He's got a sweet loincloth on.
But
I think if you look under, you can see some giant, wang. I think it's there. If you want to investigate, you can check it out sometime. I'll let you be the first to find out.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate those.
Anytime.
Well, coming in a cool third was actually Eamon. As I said, I pole vaulted him the way up there. I mean, I think he owes me a drink at this point in time. But yeah, that was the venue was good. The food was great. The fact that it was a on-site bar, which we could buy drinks during the day was actually quite good. The only complaint I had was the music. Like that was really.
They were playing good music for most of the time, but there were times where they got into just like heavy drum metal where it was a touch loud and you couldn't hear anything.
Metallica 1 played at a few decibels back when I was younger. Would have loved it, and I loved it at this point in time. But my God, we could barely hear each other across the table.
Game 1, Eamon and I did most of our communicating with hand signals because we couldn't hear each other talk and that's my favorite signal, yeah. But we couldn't hear each other talk. So we had to do like hand signals for wounds and charges and the whole thing. But overall, yeah, I agree. Great venue. It was nice. It was clean, which was something I always look for. Well lit, reasonably, where we were playing anyways. So I had a great time at the venue. I thought it was very nice. And I had fantastic opponents. Everybody were gentlemen. The games were all clean. Everybody had a good time. And I had really, really good luck for my list. It helped a lot. So
yeah, you were worried going in, and I thought you were going to do a lot worse than you did.
It is a very medium list that was shored up by very high probabilities of luck. Like 2 games came down to snake eyes, where if I hadn't gotten them, I would have lost. So coming down to 1 dice roll is very lucky for me, and my opponents played really, really, really strong games and by right should have won, but we do play dice games and luck is a factor. So sometimes lucky is good.
I'm finding a lot of us have kind of like sneaked into like their preferred list. Like a lot of the guys are playing things that they gel with really well. Like Mark finding Abyssal Dwarves, Joel playing Sylvakin is actually really good. I played him twice now with that list. I really do like that. It's just there's been a bunch of people have just kind of gone. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to continue to play this way. Eamon going into Veringer, I'm a little worried about that.
It's a good change for Eamon, yeah.
Yeah, I really do think it, and he's got some changes himself that he was thinking about making, and I think going down the road that he wants to go down, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of the guys have stopped kind of bouncing armies, which was, I mean, that's something a lot of us do, right? You'll bounce around armies, but they've been playing armies fairly consistently over the last few tournaments, and they've gotten much, much better with them.
Well, I think with all of that being said, I think we can put this one to bed. But we had a good time at Summer Smash. We appreciate the fact that we all actually went to Oshawa. Like, yay!
Dude, downtown Oshawa was nice. Like,
yes,
it was nice. It was clean. We went to the food market around the corner
The
after
food market
dinner
was
with everybody.
really good.
The food was all really good there. I had a great time. Yeah,
I should have had the Polish street meat. I think that would have.
it did look really good. The tacos were great, but the Polish street meat, man, some of the stuff they were walking away from that stand with looked crazy.
Yeah, no, there was a whole bunch of places to eat there. It was right where it needed to be. I mean, we could complain, but there's no point in doing that at this point in time. So, but mostly because I'm a terrible person and I complain about shit anyway.
So we'll just skip that part. Moving on.
Well, for that, unless you've got anything to say on the way out there, Ray, because we've kind of.
Of course he does. Ray, when are the next tournaments?
So we have a King of the Thames, which Nathan is running some point in July. And then after that, the next big tournament is King Beyond the Wall, number 6. I don't know if Alex has formulated our awesome plan to have 6s across the giant that you get to bring for King.
Well, there was some spicy shit that was talked about during lunch that was for sure.
Listen, my favorite is the 6d6 attacks that one of you came up with on Melee 6. That is wonderful.
That would be awesome with Crushing 6, because why not have Crushing 6?
Because why not, yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah. If you're going to do a giant with Crushing 4, it might as well be Crushing 6.
Yeah. So you can have crushing 6, defense 6, 66 attacks, speed 6, range 6 with 6 attacks because it might as well be useless. And
I think you're adding one too many 6s, but
No,
Oh,
it
no.
needs more
No.
6s.
all the 6s.
all
And
the 6s.
unfortunately, I don't think Alex took us up on that suggestion.
We'll see. There's still time.
There is still time, but yeah,
I
King
did
Beyond the Wall.
convert him to go 7 plus D6 attacks if he's going to keep with the giant he currently has. Because then you can get up to 13. He has Fireball 13, 13 attacks. It almost feel like Scud. Like I'd feel like I was going back to.
No one likes Scud. No one likes Scud.
You love
No
That's
one.
not true at all. Every Ratkin player loves Scud.
No one.
Yes.
You just don't like Scud
And
because
we
you keep
know-
letting yourself get touched by him.
I tell you, all he does is bat those half dead eyes at me, and
Yeah, you just pretend you don't like Scud. Really, you're like, Scud, over here behind this tree stand. What am I doing behind the forest?
my two weaknesses are, Joe Bugays and Scud, I guess.
So we know that was a Ratkin player at heart. So there's a good chance he can accept Scud in the future.
Yeah, that's true.
So other than that, good event. Sign up for King Beyond the Wall. We have Les Champions coming down from Quebec again because they
Sweet.
have registered and paid.
I have
Oh.
done neither, so I probably should do
I
one of
have
those,
registered.
at least. Maybe both. We'll see.
Don't worry, I already included your name, John. You didn't have a choice, and Ben. So
That
yeah.
sounds about right. Yep.
Yep, that pretty much sounds the way things are going to be going. But
So fun. That's what we're up to, and same event as March of Death, and so those are the next tournaments that get us all the way up to Crossroads, where we're just sorting out who's going to be on which team representing Canada.
Yep.
that is correct. And
Okay.
Which I also have to register and pay for, so I should do that
Oh.
too.
I have registered.
King of the Thames. I'll put a link or something in the bio notes for this. King Beyond the Wall is taking place in August 9th, 10th. And Crossroads is the weekend of September 20th.
Yeah.
So those are your next 3 big activities at this point in time.
Except for that whole thing, Masters, but it's not that big.
Yeah,
of a
But
deal.
if you're going to Masters, you're going to Masters. At this point, all the teams are set, all the rosters are done. So if you're going to Masters, have a great time.
Yeah, and you know when it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have fun at
Cool.
Masters, Ray.
So sign up for King Beyond the Wall. I was
You
gonna
got
swear
it. We'll say that people have already stopped listening at this point in time, and because of that, for the looks and the brains, I will say good night to everybody, and we will all see you again very soon.
Live longer.